Guys, do you love the Cleveland Browns? I know you do. It's a rhetorical question, else you wouldn't be here right now. So here's what I need you guys to do. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down below. The more subscriptions we get, the more Browns content the bosses here at Chat Sports will let me make. So go ahead and subscribe so we can give you more Browns news and rumors and much more content as the regular season is right around the corner. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. I'm Matthew Peterson, and today is not a good day for the NFL. It's a sad day across the league. That's because it's the first cut day, so some hopes and dreams are going up in flares, at least for this season, and the rosters have to get trimmed down to 85 players. They're at 90 before. We cut off 5. We trimmed some fat a little bit, and this is the first of 3 big cut days across the NFL, each one falling on a Tuesday. So the first player coming up here is the offensive guard out of TCU. It's a youngin, Cordel Iwuagwu. The reason why I think the Browns are going to move on from this guy, and it has nothing really so much to do with his talent level, which of course, the better you are, the more likely, but it's more of a reflection of where the Browns stand at each depth position, right? So you check out the Cleveland Browns offensive line here. This is not a room or a group in the NFL that needs a lot of improvement. This is the top 5, I would say, NFL offensive line in the NFL. So there's just not a ton of room for roster bubble guys to make a push. You're better off being on a team that has a worse offensive line. Why don't you go give the Steelers a shot? Not too good down there in Pittsburgh. So, guys, let's kick things off here. Let's have a little fun. Let me know. Do the Browns have a top 5 offensive line in the NFL? If you think they do, which I sure hope so, because they do, type Y for yes. If they don't, which I don't know where you got your news from, but it sure wasn't here, type N for no down in the comments. Let me know what you think if the Browns have a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. Moving on here, the next guy up, it's Montrel Meander, the linebacker who saw his training camp cut short after the first cut day. Had a little bit of interesting background. Comes out of the XFL last season, an alum of Grambling State. But unfortunately for Meander, this is a linebacker position that has some injuries right now a little bit. You look at Mac Wilson, Anthony Walker, a little bit unknown. So this one's a little more surprising for me just because you've got 2 guys right there right at the top of your screen who their current injury status is a little bit unknown. Walker seems to be coming out. Wilson may be getting into the injury protocol. So why not keep him around? Beats me, but hey, I'm not Andrew Berry. So that's the end of the line for Meander. And next, it is the cornerback Kiondre Thomas. And once again, I think you guys are seeing a pattern here, right? You're looking at position groups that the Browns have plenty of depth at. And the rookie out of Kansas State, that's the end of the road for him because look at the Browns cornerback depth chart here. Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, Troy Hill. And then, of course, you invested a first-round draft pick into Greg Newsome. And there's a lot of guys behind him that have been really spectacular so far at camp, doing all they can to make the roster. So the cornerback position, there's just too much talent for a guy who's just on the fringe of the 3rd and 4th string to make it into the next level of training camp. But let's play another game here because you know what? Browns preseason and training camp, we're just waiting for the regular season, right? And talking about the regular season, another over-under time. I want you guys to let me know, over or under 11 interceptions this season for the Browns defense. I picked 11 for a reason. That's how many they had last year. So if you think it's over, hit O. If it's under, type U down in the comments. Browns fans, do you think you know the Cleveland Browns? I know you know the NFL. So let me know about this. Would you be interested in joining up with BetUS? That is our sportsbook sponsor, and it's really great. It's awesome. Let me explain it to you, okay? No matter what you put in, no matter what you deposit, BetUS is going to give you 125% additional bonus. So when you use the link right below, and you use the promo code right there, there it is, over there somewhere, yeah, Browns 125. It's crazy how mirrors work. Browns 125. You are going to get 125% added on to your deposit bonus. So use the link. I'm not going to even bother trying to point to the promo code again, but it's Browns 125. And here's a really cool bet that I personally have some interest in, and I'm going to sink my teeth into you. It's Kings of the North. Who will win the AFC North? If you think it's going to be the Browns, plus 135. When you bet $100, you win $135. You can scale it back, you can scale it up, whatever you want. It's just easy to work in the increments of 100. The only thing I hope you don't do is just don't pick the Bungles, because they're way down the list there, and I don't see that happening coming off an injured Joe Burrow season. Getting back to some of the roster moves and cuts made, the Browns also placed some players on injured reserve. They called it reserved injured. It's the same thing. IR is what we all know it as. And unfortunately, this was something we were kind of hoping that wouldn't be the case, but it is. Stephen Carlson, the fourth tight end on the depth chart for the Browns, went down with a knee injury in Jacksonville during the first preseason game, and well, that's the year for Carlson. You see him there, tight end 4. They're going to have to find a replacement for him. And the Browns, they love to use tight ends. They like to come out in 22 and 23 sets. 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends. That's what Baker Mayfield does the best in. That's where he's at his best. So it will be interesting to see who can replace Carlson at tight end 4. And the fifth and final player the Browns had to trim down to get to 85 players ahead of the 4 p.m. Eastern Time deadline here on Tuesday. It's a wide receiver, a bit of a journeyman, Ryan Switzer out of North Carolina. Originally started with the Cowboys, drafted in the 4th round. That was a couple of years ago. Had some time in the regular season, but a foot injury is his demise. He had a touchdown in that first preseason game against the Jaguars, but Switzer goes down with a foot injury. He's placed on IR, so along with Carlson, that is the end of their 2021 NFL season. Can't be activated. They're down there, and they're done for the rest of the year. Speaking of bubble players, this is what training camp and preseason is all about. It's looking at who's right on the cusp of making it. Carlson getting injured actually paves the way a little bit for another bubble guy. So speaking of bubble players, who is your favorite bubble player? Go down in the comments and let me know who you love and who you think may even have a shot to make the roster. Before we get into the sub-read, guys, one quick thing about Stephen Carlson I wanted to mention. When a starter like that, when a projected 53-man roster guy makes the gets put on IR, well, that's going to open up a spot. But if you want more Browns content, so you can know who's going to take Carlson's spot, who's going to slide maybe into the 53-man roster, go ahead and subscribe. It's really simple. The more subscriptions we get, the more Browns content I can give you guys, talking about all the latest news and rumors coming out of Cleveland's preseason and into the regular season.